The law of attraction, my friends, I want you to lean in closely, not just with your ears, but with your heart, your imagination, and your burning desire to grow, because today I'm going to speak to you about a power so immense, yet so subtle. A force that has shaped empires, built fortunes, healed hearts, and turned the ordinary into the extraordinary. It is the law of attraction. Now, I know many of you have heard of it. You may have even tried it. Maybe you whispered affirmations in the mirror, wrote a goal down once or twice, or wished hard upon a star, but the law of attraction isn't magic dust. It's not some cosmic trick. No, it's far more practical. It's a law just as real as gravity, just as powerful as electricity, and just as neutral. It doesn't care who you are, where you're from, or how many times you've failed. It only listens to one thing: your dominant thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. So let me ask you this: what are you attracting right now? If your mind is clouded with worry, fear, or doubt, you'll draw to yourself more reasons to worry, fear, and doubt. But if your mind is lit up with faith, purpose, and burning desire, oh, you better believe the universe will respond. When I was just a young man interviewing the greats, Carnegie, Edison, Ford, I noticed something. These titans weren't born lucky. They weren't the smartest in the room, but they had something unshakable. They believed in their vision before the world could see it. That belief acted like a magnet. You see, thoughts are things, not vague, floating wisps of energy, but actual forces that shape your world. You attract what you constantly think about. That's why it's dangerous to dwell in negativity and powerful to bathe your mind in hope. Let me say this as clearly as I can: whatever you hold in your mind, consistently, emotionally, and with faith, you will hold in your hands. Now, I won't pretend this law works overnight. You can't think rich and tomorrow wake up with $1 million in your bank. But I will tell you this: if you keep your thoughts aligned with your desire, you'll begin to move, step by step, toward the exact life you imagine. Everything you need already exists. The opportunities, the people, the ideas, the energy, they're all here right now. But they remain invisible until your mind tunes in like a radio to the right frequency. The law of attraction is that tuner. It doesn't create what's not there. It simply reveals what already is. But here's the secret most miss. It's not just thinking, it's feeling. It's one thing to say, I am successful, but another to feel it deep in your bones, to walk, talk, breathe, and act like the person you wish to become, even before it shows up. That's when the magic happens. Because when you believe with emotion, the law of attraction moves mountains. Ideas will flash into your mind. Doors you never noticed will swing wide open. People you never dreamed of meeting will cross your path. Coincidence? No, my friends. That's the law at work, but you must stay the course. Too many give up too soon. They think it's not working. Just when things were beginning to shift, the universe is always listening, always responding, but it responds in divine timing, not always your timing. So hold the vision, even when it's dark, even when the bills pile up, even when no one claps for you. Hold it, see it, feel it, speak it, live it, and the law it will obey. You may be wondering, how do I start? You start by choosing your thoughts on purpose. Be deliberate with your mind like a sculptor with marble. Chisel away the doubt, carve out the fear, and in its place plant faith, plant vision, plant love. Speak life over yourself. Say, I am worthy, I am capable, I am attracting everything I need to succeed. Repeat it, not as wishful thinking, but as truth, because it is. Don't just do this in the morning. Live it all day long. Let your thoughts become your allies. Surround yourself with people who water your dreams, not those who poison them with doubt. Now listen. There will be moments when you feel like giving up. The results may lag. That's okay. The universe tests your faith before it delivers your rewards. You've got to prove you're ready. The law of attraction is not for the lazy. It's for the bold, those who dare to dream big and back it up with fierce belief and unwavering persistence. You don't get what you want, you get what you are. So become the person who naturally attracts what you desire. Act from the end, move from the future. Let your energy rise, let your soul speak. You are not a victim of your circumstances. You are the author, and every thought you choose is a stroke of the pen. So write wisely, dream boldly, believe relentlessly, and live as though your desire is already done. Because in the eyes of the law, it is. Thank you. 1. Thoughts become things. What you consistently think, you inevitably attract. 2. Emotion-charged belief is the magnet that pulls your desires into reality. 3. You must act, think, and feel as if your goal is already achieved. 4. The law of attraction responds to faith, persistence, and clear purpose, not wishful thinking. 5. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. Your mind, my friend, is the workshop where all your dreams, fears, failures, and fortunes are forged, and it is in that invisible realm of thought where every visible result in your life is first born, for whether you realize it or not, the dominant thoughts you hold in your consciousness are planting seeds into the very soil of your reality, and sooner or later, those seeds grow, blossom, and bear fruit that matches exactly the nature of what was planted. This is not a poetic metaphor, but a fundamental law of life, for everything that now exists was once just a thought. Every business, every invention, every home, every song, every masterpiece, every miracle, it all began as an idea in someone's mind, nurtured with faith, fed with attention, and acted upon with persistence until it moved from the unseen into the seen, from the internal to the external, from the realm of imagination into the material world. And this is where so many people miss the mark, because they treat their thoughts lightly, as if they are fleeting, harmless, temporary things that come and go with no consequence. But the truth is, thoughts are things, real, tangible, powerful things that possess energy, intention, and direction, and every thought you allow to dominate your mind has the power to shape your destiny, whether you believe it or not. You cannot think of failure, expect success, and still be surprised when failure shows up, because you invited it through your focus. You gave it energy by your fear, you gave it space by your doubt, and the universe, which is always listening, responded not to your desires, but to your dominant vibration, which is created by the thoughts you repeat daily. And so if you want to attract health, you must think health. If you want wealth, you must think wealth, and not just once in a while when you're feeling inspired, but consistently, deliberately, as a discipline, as a practice, as a habit of mind that grows stronger with each repetition. Because consistency is the fuel of manifestation, and what you repeat, you believe, and what you believe, you become. But beware, for this law works both ways, and just as positive thoughts attract positive results, negative thoughts, when held long enough, begin to summon unwanted conditions into your life with the same force and precision, and this is why you must guard your mind, as if it were a sacred temple, because it is, and you must be careful what you allow to enter through the gates of attention. For once a thought is welcomed, it begins to take root, and if you water it with emotion and repetition, it will grow into a habit, and that habit becomes a belief, and that belief becomes your reality. And so the great secret is this: change your thoughts and you change your world, but you must do it consciously, persistently, and with full emotional engagement, not casually or only when things go wrong. For the mind is always working, always attracting, always creating, whether you use it wisely or not, whether you program it with intention or let it run wild with fear and confusion. And so the real work, the first and most important work of every successful man or woman, is to become the master of their own thoughts, to wake up each day and deliberately Choose the mental images, the affirmations, the feelings, and the beliefs they wish to hold, and to keep those dominant long enough for them to become a magnet for real life circumstances to match. And you must understand that thoughts are not weak, idle forces. They are spiritual seeds, each carrying within it the blueprint of the life you are building. And if you plant thoughts of poverty, limitation, and struggle, then don't be surprised when your life reflects the exact same conditions. But if you learn to catch yourself, to shift your attention, to hold a picture in your mind of the life you truly want, even when the outer world contradicts it, especially when the outer world contradicts it, then you begin to tap into a power that can only be described as miraculous, for in that moment you cease to be a victim of circumstance and become the creator of it, the director, builder, the master sculptor of your own experience, and from that day forward, you stop wondering why life happens the way it does and start realizing you are responsible for most of it, not in a blameful way, but in an empowering one, because once you accept that your thoughts are causative agents and not passive ones, you begin to treat each thought as a sacred instrument, tuning it like a musician, focusing it like a beam of light, and aligning it with the outcomes you desire, and you will begin to notice small shifts at first. An idea that pops into your mind at the right moment, a person who enters your life unexpectedly with exactly what you need, a door that opens that once seemed shut, a coincidence that seems too perfect to be random. And that is the law in action, responding to your new mental frequency, bringing into form the very vibration you have been offering through your sustained thoughts. And the longer you persist in holding to the vision, the stronger the attraction becomes, and over time your entire life begins to reshape itself to match what you've been carrying in your mind all along. And though the world may call it luck or coincidence or fate, you will know better because you will have witnessed the transformation from within to without, and you will finally understand that success, happiness, love, health, wealth, peace, these are not accidents, but results, not wishes, but responses, not mysteries, but manifestations of the thoughts we feed, nurture, and water every single day. And when you truly grasp that your life is a mirror reflecting your most consistent mental attitude, then you will never again speak words of lack. You will never again entertain images of failure. You will never again allow fear to take root in your heart without challenging it, because you will know the stakes, you will know the power you hold, and you will know that your thoughts are your greatest tool or your worst trap, depending on how you use them, and that realization, if it burns deeply enough, will change the way you live forever. For once a man or woman discovers the truth that they are the architect of their own mind, and therefore the architect of their fate, there can be no going back to small thinking, no return to passive living, no tolerance for mental laziness, because the price is too high and the reward too great. And so today I challenge you not to hope, not to wish, but to decide right now what kind of life you want to live, and then begin thinking, speaking, and acting as if that life is already yours. Because once your thoughts become aligned, once your belief becomes consistent, once your vibration becomes steady, the universe itself will begin to rearrange in your favor, and the world will bend to the image you've held, not because it's magic, but because it is law, the law of thought, the law of attraction, the law that governs all creation, and it is waiting for you to use it. There is a vital truth that most people miss when trying to change their lives, a truth so powerful that it separates those who merely wish from those who actually manifest, and that truth is this: belief alone is not enough, and desire without feeling is like a fire without heat, because it is not just what you believe that shapes your world. It is how deeply and emotionally you believe it. For emotion is the fuel, the electricity, the magnet that turns static thoughts into dynamic forces that begin to move reality in your direction. And until you attach strong, vivid, burning emotion, Your belief, your mind will not vibrate at the level necessary to draw in what you want, because the universe responds not merely to idle thoughts or casual dreams, but to the vibration of belief charged with passion, certainty, and feeling, and that is the secret of every great man and woman who ever turned the invisible into the visible. They didn't just hope, they didn't just think, they felt it into existence, they believed it with every cell of their being, and their conviction was so strong that the outer world had no choice but to rearrange itself in response, because your emotion is what gives your thought life, what gives it motion, what gives it power to attract and influence and create, and when your belief becomes emotionalized, when it moves from your head into your heart, then you begin to generate a signal so strong, so magnetic, that it begins to pull circumstances, people, opportunities, and ideas toward you in ways that seem mysterious to the casual observer, but are completely explainable through the laws of the mind and spirit. And this is why so many people fail to manifest what they desire, because they speak words of faith, but feel fear inside. They repeat affirmations, but they doubt while doing so. They make vision boards, but deep down, they question whether they're worthy, whether it will happen, whether they're enough. And so the emotion cancels out the belief, the doubt clouds the desire, and the signal they send out is weak, fragmented, inconsistent, and so are the results. But when a man or woman decides to back their belief with deep, unwavering, heartfelt emotion, when they throw themselves into the feeling of it as though it is already done, when they walk, talk, act, and radiate from the end as if they've already received what they seek, then they become like a magnet of immense strength, drawing to themselves the people, events, and conditions necessary to fulfill that mental picture. And the key is not to wait for results to feel the emotion. The key is to feel the emotion before the result shows up, to activate within yourself the feeling of already being, already having, already doing, because the universe doesn't distinguish between imagination and reality. It responds to vibration, to frequency, and when you feel something deeply enough, it becomes real to your subconscious mind, and your subconscious in turn begins to act, attract, and create based on that new internal truth, and so emotion becomes the bridge between your present condition and your desired condition. It is the energy that closes the gap, and the stronger the emotion, the faster the attraction, for while thought sets the destination, emotion provides the fuel, and without that fuel, you are like a ship with no wind in its sails, adrift, hoping for miracles but never arriving at your goal. So let me urge you, don't just say I believe. Don't just say I want, feel it. Feel it in your bones, in your chest, in your soul, and the more you practice that feeling, the more you train your inner world to match the vibration of your desire. And the more you train your vibration, the more your outer world will begin to shift to reflect it. Because the world is a mirror, always echoing back the dominant emotional state you carry, not just the words you say, but the feeling behind them. And this is why two people can say the exact same affirmation and get completely different results. Because one says it with conviction and heart, while the other says it with emptiness and doubt, and the law responds accordingly, always precise, always fair, always aligned with the emotion that is most consistent. And so if you want a new life, start with a new emotional state. Begin by finding the feelings that match your desire and living in them now, even before anything changes on the outside. And yes, this will feel unnatural at first, even foolish, but that's only because you've spent years practicing the feelings of fear, doubt, scarcity, and limitation, and now you're learning a new frequency, a new pattern, a new vibration, and as you persist, it gets easier, the emotion gets stronger, and eventually your belief becomes unshakable. And when belief becomes unshakable, the law goes to work on your behalf in ways that defy logic and explanation, because the world will always respond to the strongest signal, and the strongest signal is not the thought you think once or twice. It is the emotion. soaked belief that lives inside you all day long, the one you carry when no one is watching, the one that moves you to act even when results haven't shown up yet. And that kind of belief, charged with emotion, doesn't just attract, it commands, it calls forth, it compels the unseen forces of this world to begin shaping reality in your favor, and I promise you, there is nothing more powerful than a human being who knows what they want and believes with all their heart that it is already theirs, for that kind of certainty cannot be denied, that kind of faith cannot be ignored, and when you reach that level of alignment, things begin to happen rapidly. Ideas arrive, doors open, opportunities rush in, and you begin to realize that success was never outside you to begin with. It was waiting for you to feel worthy of it, to align with it emotionally, to believe deeply enough that it would show up. And so, my friend, whatever it is you seek, wealth, love, freedom, health, purpose, it can all be yours, but only when you are willing to not just believe it intellectually, but emotionally, to feel the thrill of having it now, to imagine and immerse yourself so deeply in that future reality that your whole being begins to radiate with the joy, confidence, and certainty of one who already lives in it. Because emotion is the language of the subconscious, and your subconscious is the engine that drives your actions, your choices, your perception, and your attraction. And once it is convinced, once it is emotionally sold on your new belief, it will begin moving heaven and earth to make it real. And so I challenge you not to believe harder, but to feel deeper, to attach emotion to every goal, to every vision, to every affirmation you speak, to rehearse in your heart the feeling of already being the person you want to become, and to carry that emotional state with you through your days, through your trials, through your victories, until the world around you has no choice but to mirror it back to you in full, because that is the law, and the law does not fail. The greatest mistake most people make when chasing a dream is believing they have to wait until the evidence appears before they begin to act like it's real. But let me tell you the truth, the raw, unfiltered truth that separates those who succeed from those who endlessly struggle. It is not the evidence that makes the dream come true. It is your ability to think, feel, and act as if it's already true that brings the evidence into form. For the universe does not respond to wishful thinking or desperate hoping. It responds to certainty, to faith in motion, to belief made visible through behavior. And if you want your life to rise to a higher level, you've got to rise first. You've got to carry yourself like the person who already has the thing you desire. You've got to speak like it, walk like it, decide like it, live like it, and let every fiber of your being resonate with the version of you that already made it, because when you do that, when you embody the end result with such intensity and consistency that your present self begins to reflect your future vision, you activate a law more powerful than chance, more powerful than circumstance, a spiritual principle that bends the fabric of reality to match your internal identity. And make no mistake, the law of attraction is not based on what you hope for. It's based on who you are being, and being isn't passive, it's active, it's expressive, it's visible in how you show up every single day. And that's where so many people go wrong. They're waiting for the money to feel abundant, waiting for love to feel worthy, waiting for success to feel confident, and in doing so, they delay the very outcome they want, because the signal they send to the universe is lack, not possession, doubt, not faith, waiting, not receiving, and the universe can only echo back to you what you are broadcasting from within. So if you keep broadcasting, "I'm still waiting," you'll keep getting more reasons to wait. But if you shift, if you begin to think the thoughts of a person who already has what you want, if you begin to feel the gratitude, confidence, and energy of someone who already succeeded, and most importantly, if you begin to take the actions that such a person would naturally take, even if they scare you, even if they stretch you, even if they feel unfamiliar at first. Then you send out a new vibration, a signal of power, of readiness, of alignment, and life responds because energy always follows identity, and outcomes always follow behavior, and behavior always follows belief. And belief is nothing more than a thought you've repeated enough times with enough emotion to become your automatic way of being. So to change your life, you must change the way you show up in it. And you must do it before anything changes around you, not after, not when it's convenient, not when the signs are clear, but now, immediately, because your outer reality is only ever a mirror of your inner identity, and when that identity upgrades, everything around you begins to shift to match it, slowly at first, then rapidly, but only if you're consistent, because this isn't about faking it until you make it. This is about becoming it until it becomes real, training your nervous system to believe in your destiny so deeply that you stop asking how will it happen, and start declaring it is already done. And that kind of mindset, that level of emotional certainty, transforms you from a dreamer into a creator, and creators don't sit around hoping for proof. They act like what they want is inevitable, they take steps boldly, they invest in themselves, they speak their truth, they trust their instincts, and they lean into life with a confidence that says, I already am who I need to be. And when you live like that, opportunities begin to chase you, doors open without knocking, people appear at the right time, and solutions rise up just as the problem unfolds, not because you forced anything, but because you aligned yourself with the outcome from the beginning, and alignment is the key, alignment between your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions, because when all three point in the same direction, you become unstoppable. But if your thoughts say, I want to succeed, while your feelings scream, I'm not good enough, and your actions prove, I'm afraid to try, then the energy is divided, the signal is weak, and the result is stagnation, frustration, and confusion. So your job isn't just to think positively or visualize success in silence. It's to back those thoughts with emotional certainty and daily action that matches the version of you who has already achieved what you want. And yes, that takes courage, because you'll be walking into rooms where no one believes in your dream yet. You'll be speaking life over ideas that haven't manifested yet. You'll be making decisions based not on where you are, but where you're going, and the old version of you will resist it. The fear will whisper, who do you think you are? But your soul must answer, I am already the one. Because that identity shift is where the magic lives. It's where the transformation begins. It's the moment you stop reacting to life and start creating it. And even if the world doesn't see it yet, even if the bank account still says not yet, even if the results aren't instant, you keep going, you keep showing up, because you're no longer living from the old self. You're living from the future self. And the world always bends to match the energy of those who are bold enough to lead with belief, to feel the reality of their dream before it becomes visible, and to act with the certainty of someone who knows that if they keep watering the seed, the harvest is guaranteed. So the next time you set a goal, don't just write it down. Become the person who already has it. Breathe like them, think like them, walk like them, decide like them, show up like them, and let your entire life begin to reflect that inner decision, because when you live from the goal, not toward it, you collapse time, you defy logic, and you place yourself on the frequency of the very thing you desire, and from that place, attraction is no longer mystery, it becomes a way of life, a daily reality, a state of being that turns your dream into your destiny. If there is one truth I want to impress upon your mind so deeply that it burns into your very soul, it is this. The law of attraction does not respond to weak desires, vague intentions, or empty wishes that vanish at the first sign of difficulty. No, it responds with unwavering accuracy to those who meet its power with clear purpose, unshakable faith, and relentless persistence. Because this law, like all great laws of the universe, is not fooled by words. It listens only to vibration, to energy, to the dominant message you send out with your thoughts, emotions, and actions day after day. After day, and if you are sending out confusion, if you are unsure of what you want, if your belief comes and goes with the changing winds of circumstance, then the law cannot deliver anything consistent to you, for it mirrors not what you hope for, but what you truly hold as certain within your heart and soul. And too many people make the grave mistake of confusing wishing with believing. They say they want success but carry the energy of doubt. They speak of abundance but dwell in thoughts of lack. They pray for a new life but walk through the world with the same fearful vibration of old one, and then they wonder why nothing changes, why their efforts fall flat, why the doors remain closed. And I'll tell you why. Because the law is exact, the law is just, the law is loyal only to the strongest signal, and wishful thinking, my friend, carries no weight, no fire, no authority in the realm of manifestation. It is like writing your desires on water. They ripple and disappear, but faith, faith is a different force entirely. Faith is the internal knowing that what you desire is already yours, even when your senses say otherwise. It is the deep, unshakable conviction that defies circumstance and declares, "It is done." And when you combine that kind of faith with a clear purpose, a definiteness of aim, a crystal clear mental picture of what you want to create, and you back it up with persistent effort, with daily movement, with a refusal to quit no matter what stands in your way, then you become a power in the universe. You become a magnet to miracles, because the law of attraction cannot help but respond to the kind of person who lives their truth boldly, clearly, and consistently. And yet I see people every day drifting through life without direction, hoping success will stumble upon them, waiting for inspiration to strike, expecting the universe to reward them for merely wanting something. But let me be blunt. The law doesn't reward want. It rewards action, clarity, belief, and persistence. And until you set your foot firmly on the path of purpose, until you decide with your whole heart who you intend to be and what you intend to create, until your desire becomes so definite that no setback can shake it and no delay can defeat it, the results you seek will elude you, not because the law has failed, but because you have not yet met its requirements. And its requirements are simple, but absolute. Know what you want, believe that it's possible, act like it's inevitable, and never, under any condition, give up. And if you can do that, if you can hold your vision steady when the world around you shakes, if you can keep your faith strong even when evidence is lacking, if you can keep moving toward your purpose with a persistence that refuses to die, then life will begin to mold itself to your desire, slowly at first, then faster, until one day you look around and realize that everything you once imagined, once believed for, once fought for, is now your reality. And it won't feel like magic, though others may call it that. It won't feel like luck, though outsiders might say you got lucky. No, it will feel like justice. It will feel like alignment. It will feel like the natural result of the energy you've been giving off all along. And it is, because the law of attraction, when understood properly, is not about fantasizing your way into a better life. It's about disciplining your mind to stay focused on the life you intend to create, about mastering your emotions so they support your goal instead of sabotaging it, about showing up each day with a spirit of certainty and refusing to entertain any thought or feeling that contradicts your vision. And the moment you begin to live this way, the moment you shift from hoping to knowing, from wishing to doing, from reacting to creating, the entire rhythm of your life begins to change. Synchronicity appear, resources show up, opportunities knock, not because you begged for them, but because you became aligned with them through clarity of purpose, strength of faith, and consistency of action. And if there's any part of you that still believes success is a matter of chance, of luck, of waiting for the right time, let this message be the one that breaks that illusion forever. Because the truth is that the law of attraction is not something you turn on or off. It is always working, always responding, always matching your inner world with outer results. And your only job is to become more Intentional with what you think, what you feel, and what you persist in doing, for every thought is a command, every emotion a frequency, every action a declaration of what you expect to receive. So stop hoping and start deciding, stop wishing and start believing, stop drifting and start directing your mind with purpose, because the moment you align your thoughts with your faith, and your faith with your daily habits, and those habits with your clearly defined purpose, you become a force so powerful that nothing can stop you, not circumstance, not opinion, not delay, because you will know deep in your bones that what you are calling in is already yours, and it is only a matter of time before it arrives. And that kind of knowing, my friend, that kind of spiritual certainty, that kind of persistence in the face of silence, is what the law of attraction rewards beyond measure, and it is available to you right now if only you will commit, not casually, not conditionally, but fully, to living as the version of yourself who already has what you desire, to speaking your vision daily, to acting on it hourly, to believing in it moment by moment, until you become the living proof of this great truth, that faith backed by purpose and purpose backed by persistence will always be met by the full power of the universe moving in your favor, not because you're lucky, not because you're special, but because you've finally chosen to obey the law, and the law always delivers. There is a truth so profound and yet so often misunderstood, a truth that explains why millions of people can want something with all their hearts, beg for it, pray for it, chase it, even obsess over it, and still never receive it. And that truth is this: you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are, because the universe doesn't respond to desire alone. It responds to identity, to the dominant frequency you carry, to the beliefs you hold, to the emotional state you live in every single day. And so many people confuse wanting with deserving. They think because their desire is strong, the law should reward them. They believe that wishing hard enough, dreaming long enough, will bring them what they crave. But the law is not moved by craving. It is moved by vibration, and your vibration is not determined by what you hope for. It's determined by who you're being, how you're thinking, how you're feeling, how you're behaving, because energy speaks louder than words, and the energy you emit into the world is always mirrored back to you in people, opportunities, experiences, and outcomes that match your internal state. So if you walk around with thoughts of lack, if you feel unworthy, if you carry fear, doubt, guilt, insecurity, then it doesn't matter how badly you say you want success, love, health, wealth, or happiness, you will continue to attract experiences that reflect that inner sense of lack and fear, not because the universe is punishing you, but because it is perfectly obeying the law that like attracts like, and this law never fails, never rests, never skips a beat. It's working all the time, whether you know it or not, and that's why transformation doesn't begin with wishing for a better life. It begins with becoming a better version of yourself. The version that already lives the life you desire, because your outer world is only and always a reflection of your inner world, and if you want more on the outside, you must first become more on the inside. You must rise in thought, in character, in self, concept, in energy, and it's not about pretending to be something you're not. It's about releasing who you're not and remembering who you really are, because the truth is, everything you want is already yours in potential, already waiting for you on the frequency of your highest self, but you can't access it while holding on to old patterns, old fears, old stories, old wounds. You must elevate, you must align, you must match the energy of your desires with your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions. And this is where real change begins, not with a vision board or an affirmation whispered once in a while, but with a decision, a powerful, unwavering soul, deep decision to become the kind of person who naturally attracts the kind of life you want, to think the thoughts that serve your growth, to feel the emotions that strengthen your confidence, to carry yourself with the dignity, strength, and grace of someone who knows they are already aligned with the highest version of their reality, because once you shift who you are being, everything around you must shift to match it, not maybe, not hopefully. Must, because that's how the law works, and there's no way around it. And I'm telling you this not discourage you but to awaken you, because so many people spend years asking for more while staying exactly the same, repeating the same habits, the same choices, the same excuses, and then blaming life or luck or God when nothing changes. But change doesn't come from wanting, it comes from becoming. And becoming is not a surface thing. It's not about putting on a mask. It's about doing the inner work, healing the inner wounds, challenging the limiting beliefs, speaking the truth to yourself about who you are and who you are no longer willing to be. And this takes courage, real courage, because becoming is a process of letting go, and letting go is uncomfortable. Letting go of the victim story, letting go of the old identity, letting go of your excuses, and replacing them with accountability, with vision, with ownership, and with love. Yes, love, because the most magnetic energy on earth is self-love, not arrogance, not pride, but a deep, authentic, unshakable love for who you are becoming. And when you love yourself at that level, you no longer settle, you no longer beg, you no longer chase. You attract, you inspire, you elevate, and your life begins to change in ways you never imagined, not because you forced it, but because you became it. And when you become the person who already lives the life you want, the universe has no choice but to catch up, to reflect, to mirror that change back to you, because it always responds to who you are. And this is why I say again, raise your identity and your results will rise with it. Stop focusing on the outcome and start focusing on the input, the inner world, the invisible frequency that governs everything visible, because when your energy matches your goal, you no longer hope, you expect, and when you expect, you act differently, you speak differently, you walk differently, and the world responds, not by coincidence but by law, because your beingness becomes the magnet, the evidence, the path, and the destination all in one. And I want you to understand deeply and clearly that you are not attracting what you want, because desire alone doesn't change reality, and even hard work without alignment will leave you exhausted and empty. But when who you are being aligns with what you are seeking, then everything flows, everything unfolds, because you are now a vibrational match to the thing you want chased. And you don't chase what belongs to you, you receive it, you allow it, you attract it effortlessly, not because you did more, but because you became more. And that's the secret. You attract who you are, so be someone who is already blessed, already abundant, already loved, already free, already successful. And that truth will show up, not because you manipulated the law, but because you finally stepped into harmony with it, because the law is always responding, always reflecting, always echoing the signal you send. And when that signal is clear, powerful, loving, and aligned, life becomes less of a battle and more of a dance, because now you're not fighting for your dream, you're living from it.